Hello beautiful beings, welcome back to another video. I'm so happy to be here with you today and thank you so much for joining me. If this is your first time seeing my face, hello. My name is Carla and I'm a holistic nutritionist, digital content creator, and overall wellness advocate. In today's video, we'll be discussing yoni steaming and how my own journey led me to this beautiful practice. As a womb-carrying human, this practice has endless benefits that I cannot wait to share with you, and hopefully some of this information resonates so that you can try it yourself at home. So you might be wondering, what is yoni steaming exactly? How does it work? Etc, etc. Well, yoni steaming is actually an ancient practice that has been done over hundreds of years across many different cultures. This sacred ritualistic practice uses medicinal herbs to help heal the yoni. It's done by gently and intentionally boiling these herbs and allowing the steam to rise into the yoni and womb space. The term yoni is actually a Sanskrit word that means sacred space. This sacred space is referring to our womb and yoni area where the root chakra resides. There's truly so many endless benefits that yoni steaming provides when it's done properly and intentionally. This includes physical ailments like endometriosis, PCOS, even ovarian cysts. This sacred practice is actually most commonly done after childbirth to help tonify the uterus and help it return back to its normal size. Yoni steaming is also known to help with dryness and lubricates the vaginal canal. It is so helpful to help flush out any stagnant, stuck energy that may be lingering in the yoni. This can also include things like abortions and miscarriages, whether that be unwanted or wanted. One of the main reasons I personally felt called to yoni steam was because it can be so therapeutic for those who have experienced sexual abuse or sexual assault. Honestly, I can go on and on about the laundry list of benefits that yoni steaming has, but all in all, it can be used as preventative health care and to maintain a healthy ecosystem in the reproductive organs. Generally speaking, I've seen the most effectiveness when I do this before the start of my menstrual cycle and after I've stopped bleeding. Ever since yoni steaming has been part of my life, I've been connected to my body more than ever before, and honestly, my menstrual cycle has become a breeze. I typically don't experience heavy cramps, excessive bleeding, bloating, which are very common PMS symptoms, and I owe that entirely to yoni steaming. So I'm gonna take it back about 6 to 7 years ago. I was in my early 20s in a very unhealthy, toxic relationship. I didn't know it at the time, but this relationship ended up being my biggest blessing in disguise. One day my partner came home and shared that he tested positive for a sexually transmitted disease, and I remember making an appointment the very next day and going to see an OBGYN. At this appointment, not only did I discover that I too had an STD, but I had also tested positive for HPV. My gynecologist thought it was appropriate to immediately schedule a cervical exam where she found ovarian cysts, and many of them. I was told that I would live with HPV for the rest of my life and it was impossible to heal from it. That day was one of the most pivotal moments in my life. I will never forget sitting in that room and questioning how I had arrived at that moment. A few months later, that relationship ended and I immediately stopped taking hormonal birth control after being on it for about a decade. I was strongly advised by my gynecologist not to get off birth control because there was no way I would have a normal, healthy cycle ever again. I listened to my heart, I listened to my intuition, and I made the decision to continue not taking birth control. At the time, I was also exploring different ways of eating and figuring out what felt best for my body. I turned to a mainly plant-based lifestyle and dug myself under hundreds of books and research, trying to figure out how I could heal myself and find balance and harmony again. The research I did to naturally heal myself eventually led me to yoni steaming and cracked my world wide open. Now, I do think it's important to note that yoni steaming is not the end-all be-all. It is certainly not a magical one-time thing that you do. I think it's a culmination of how you live your life. Your lifestyle has a lot to do with creating grounds for healing or illness. certainly the kind of food that you're eating and what you're putting into and onto your body, as well as the health of your relationships. What kind of people do you have around you? Are you in a positive work environment? Do you have a supportive inner circle that you rely on and trust? All those things make for a healthy lifestyle. So after about 6 months, I returned to my OBGYN after having left that relationship and completely changing and bettering my lifestyle overall. And not only did she find no ovarian cysts, but I no longer had HPV, and she claimed it to be a miracle. I wholeheartedly believe that yoni steaming helped me heal those physical ailments and also release a lot of the trauma that I experienced in that unhealthy relationship. I think as a society, something we don't talk about enough is the sacredness of sexual energy. The act of sex is literally a sexual exchange with another human being, and there are contracts in place that state that you are absorbing that person's traumas, that person's emotional state, and vice versa. This can be incredibly harmful and detrimental to not only our yonis but our overall energetic state. Of course, at the time, I had no awareness of the magnitude that having sex with this person was having on me. But the good news is that it led me to a higher path. It led me to a path of self-awareness, self-accountability, and self-responsibility. It ultimately changed the course of my life forever. Yoni steaming has allowed me to find not only healing, but also that inner power we have as the divine feminine. It's a practice that I picked up 7 years ago and have no plans of ever retiring. It's truly become part of my lifestyle, and it's something that I love to share with others because it's been such a blessing in my own journey, and it's such a beautiful way to get back in touch with our inner power and our divine femininity. Let's talk about some don'ts. Unfortunately, herbs are some of the most contaminated foods in US agriculture, so it is vital and so important to only source organic. Non-organic herbs are highly contaminated and sprayed with pesticides, and you only want the highest quality, highest nourishment herbs to enter into your sacred space. So no matter what yoni steaming herbal blend you feel called to try, make sure it is US certified organic only. Let's get into a mini tutorial on how I personally do this practice in the comfort of my own home. Creating an environment that you feel safe and supported in as you're steaming is so important. I personally love a dark, sultry vibe when I'm steaming and stimulating my senses by way of lighting an incense and candles. Once I've transferred the herbs to a heat-safe bowl, I like to take a moment and just pause, praying over the herbs and showing my reverence and deep gratitude for these medicinal plants. There's many different ways of steaming, but for the sake of simplicity and accessibility, I do it the old school way. You can use a long skirt or a dress that reaches your ankles, or you can do what I did, which is just use a blanket or a towel. The idea is to entrap the steam so that it can enter the yoni and up into the vaginal canal. The two positions that feel most comfortable for me are in a squat position or with my knees resting on the floor and forearms out for support. The important thing is to position yourself in such a way that allows the steam to rise directly into the yoni. I do this for about 15 to 30 minutes. During this time, I like to visualize that which does not serve me, literally leaving my body as the herbs and the steam collect it to release it. I love chanting root chakra affirmations to myself. This is the chakra that's associated with the womb, and it's responsible for feeling safe in our body, feeling grounded and secure. I am connected to my body. I am grounded like a tree. The earth supports, nourishes, and nurtures me. I stand authentically in my power. I belong. I am safe. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you have any follow-up questions, please leave them in the comment section below. Until next time, I will see you in the next video. Bye!